The Gospel according to John, the first chapter. In John's Gospel, Jesus' ministry begins with the call of disciples, who then bring others to Jesus. Philip's friend Nathanael comes from skepticism to faith when he accepts the invitation to come and see. The reading begins at verse 35. The next day, John was again standing with two of his disciples. And as he watched Jesus walk by, he exclaimed, "Look, here is the Lamb of God." The two disciples heard him say this, and they followed Jesus. When Jesus turned and saw them following, he said to them, "What are you looking for?" They said to him, "Rabbi," which translated means teacher. "Where are you staying?" He said to them, "Come and see." They came and saw where he was staying, and they remained with him that day. It was about 4:00 in the afternoon. One of the two who heard John speak and followed him was Andrew, Simon Peter's brother. He first found his brother Simon and said to him, "We have found the Messiah," which translated is anointed. He brought Simon to Jesus, who looked at him and said, "You are Simon, son of John. You are to be called Cephas," which is translated Peter. The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." Now Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him about whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus, son of Joseph from Nazareth." Nathanael said to him, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Philip said to him, "Come and see." When Jesus saw Nathanael coming toward him, he said of him, Here is truly an Israelite in whom there is no deceit." Nathanael asked him, "Where did you get to know me?" Jesus answered, "I saw you under the fig tree before Philip called you." Nathanael replied, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." Jesus answered, "Do you believe because I told you that I saw you under the fig tree? You will see greater things than these." And he said to him, "Very truly I tell you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ.
Well, my eyes have been focused on a number of unpleasant things lately. I'm looking at my phone screen more than I probably should, trying to follow all that is happening right now in the country. More COVID-related deaths and economic fallout. More political unrest, mistrust, and resentment. I'm looking at people's comments right now on social media, which are all across the board as to what they think about resuming in-person classes, at least in our area. I could stop looking at these things. That's what some people are doing to preserve their mental health, but it doesn't make them go away. So, what have your eyes been focused on lately? What are you looking at? What are you looking for? Those are the first words out of Jesus' mouth to those who would become his disciples in our reading today. What are you looking for? It's a question that gets at the heart of life. This is not a question about what you want or even what you need. We all have needs or demands that have to be met in order to have a healthy whole life. Those are important, and we all have things that we want, or those things that we desire to possess that go beyond our needs. And I think, generally speaking, we can identify and even balance those things fairly easily. I need food, clothing, shelter, emotional support, and the means to obtain those things. I want cool gadgets, a new car, a good job, and a happy, healthy family. But what Jesus does not ask He's not asking, what do you want or desire? And he does not ask, what do you need or demand? He asks, what are you looking for? It's a deeper kind of question that gets at the heart of what it means to be a human and to be alive. What are you looking for? What are you seeking after? What are you striving for? What are you trying to do? Have you thought about this question? Can you even answer it? So, I would like you to give it a try. Just give it a little thought. In a moment, we will put on a timer for 1 minute. If you are worshiping alone today, I would like you to think to yourself about this question. Maybe even write down your answers on a piece of paper. If you are worshiping with your family, I would like you to think together about this question. How do you answer it? What are you looking for? Ready? 1 minute, beginning now. What are you looking for? Civility in our culture? Hope? Peace? An end to COVID? Joy? Contentment? A sense of direction? An end to the stress and chaos? The feeling of security that you had when you were a kid and did not have to worry about anything? A better relationship with your parents, your spouse? Are you even aware of what you are looking for? Can you describe it? Can you name it? Can you put words to it? A lot of us can't. Uneasiness or restlessness are words that get used a lot. And I get that because this is what I know, that after all of my needs are met, and after I get many of those things that I want, I still feel like something is missing, that there is still a hole in my life to be filled. I cannot tell you how many people I know who have so much, who long for nothing, and yet are so unsatisfied. And so Jesus draws his first disciples and current disciples in with this question, and it catches people. What are you looking for? What are you seeking after? The two unnamed people in the gospel story are pulled in by the question and ask Jesus where he's staying, which is also actually a deeper spiritual question. Where are you abiding? What are you offering? What are you giving? And Jesus gives the perfect answer. Come and see. A similar thing happened to Nathanael in our story. He is told of something remarkable, of something that is such good news, namely that the one who embodies and fulfills the law and the prophets of Israel has been found in Nazareth. Now, how does he respond to this announcement? He responds in the exact same way that I would, with skepticism and disdain. I mean, nothing good can come out of that podunk backwoods town. It sounds absurd. It's too much. It's far-fetched. So, to modernize this scenario, it's like someone who has lost a spouse, hearing the words, "You will find hope again." Or it's like someone after going through an awful, awful divorce, hearing that you will find new love again. Or it's like someone who has totally lost faith in humanity, in life, hearing that you will find goodness in this world once again. The response is to disbelieve. It's impossible. It's ridiculous. It's a fairy tale. It's something that delusional people tell themselves in order to feel better. What do you say to that? In the end, Nathanael, in the midst of his skepticism, is simply invited to come and see. And he goes, and he has this experience with Jesus, and what was impossible suddenly becomes reality. I find these stories to be really interesting. So let me ask you this. What is so compelling about Jesus that people would follow? As a church, we say that we are disciples of Jesus. What is compelling about that? Especially in our time where there is so much skepticism about organized religion and institutions in general. What is compelling? What should our response to that be? Well, how about this? Come and see. Come and see. There are two primary issues that I keep coming back to lately, and that is simply because there are two primary issues that seem to be impacting all of us so much. Do you have a guess on what those two things are? I think it's pretty obvious. What does the way of Jesus or discipleship have to do with an ongoing pandemic that is causing so much harm to people's finances, social life, mental health, and physical health? What does the way of Jesus or discipleship have to do with the fact that we are utterly, and I mean utterly divided as a country, as a community, as families? In the gospel stories, when Jesus invites people to come and see, to follow in his way, that does not mean pandemics just come to an end. That does not mean that divisions within society magically go away. It does not mean that the hardships of life automatically give way to joy. Instead, when Jesus invites people to come and see, it is to follow in his way. It's an invitation to be changed, to see differently, to live differently, to have your perceptions of life challenged through acts of vulnerability, compassion, mercy, and forgiveness. For Jesus, God is the essence of love. And so, love God and love your neighbor, Jesus says. Well, what does that really mean? Well, to start with, it means that you are seen, heard, and accepted. You don't have to work to become someone you're not. You don't have to play that endless game of pretending to have the perfect family, perfect job, having everything figured out and put together. In your brokenness, God sees you and meets you. You are loved just as you are. But it goes on from there. In the same way is that if God sees you and loves you, then God also sees your neighbor and loves your neighbor. So live like that is reality, Jesus says. Work for your neighbor's benefit. Meet them in their joys and sorrows. Listen to them without judgment. See beyond the offenses you hold against them. See beyond their politics. See beyond your resentment and bitterness. See the deeper side of your neighbor, that your neighbor is a beloved child of God. That doesn't mean that actions don't have consequences, or that people will respond to you in the same way that you respond to them. But in following in the way of Jesus, you will be changed. And you will come to see that Jesus' way is the better way to live and to walk with one another through a pandemic, and to restore the relationships and the trust that has been broken, because love and its offshoots like forgiveness and compassion and mercy are the essence of God, and God can make that which you think is impossible, possible. Come and see, Jesus says. Jesus is offensive to everyone on some level. Because as much as we want to create dividing lines, defining who is good and who is bad, who is in and who is out, who should be honored and who should be shunned, God's love will not take sides or have favorites or have conditions. Now, there are many who can't accept that. But for those who do, for those who love, those who live into this, there is peace and wholeness and a sense of connection and purpose. This is what we remember and practice each time that we worship. So when we experience the hardships of pandemics and brokenness in our society, we might have hope. We might continue to walk with others. We might show others how powerful compassion and love can be when unleashed in this world. Perhaps that is our call now more than ever. Following in the way of Jesus, we as the church can teach civility, understanding, forgiveness, and peace to a world that is hurting in so many ways. So, when the world asks the question, like we heard in our reading today, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Can anything good come out from following in the way of Jesus? Is the church even relevant for us today? Our response is simply, come and see. Amen.